Ever wondered how crucial dietary lipids are for our body? Well, let's dive right in. Dietary lipids play a significant role in our health and well-being. They are primarily made up of triglycerides, accounting for approximately 97%. The rest is a combination of phospholipids and cholesterol. Each type of dietary lipid has a unique role. Triglycerides are the body's main source of energy, while phospholipids and cholesterol are vital for cell structure and function. As such, these lipids are not just about energy, they're also about structure and function at the cellular level. Now, how does our body process these lipids? An interesting tidbit is that only a small fraction of fat starts to be digested in the mouth and stomach. In the mouth, an enzyme called lingual lipase gets the ball rolling. When we move down to the stomach, gastric lipase comes into play, breaking down some triglycerides, especially short-chain ones found in foods like butter, into fatty acids and glycerol. But hold on, this is just the beginning. The stomach and mouth are merely warming up the band. The real concert, the majority of fat digestion, takes place in the small intestine. Here, the emulsifying action of bile salts and the hydrolysis by pancreatic lipase really get to work. Moreover, the body's capacity for digesting and absorbing dietary fat is actually greater than our ordinary needs. This means we're well equipped to handle the fats we consume, even if we occasionally overdo it with a fatty meal. So, let's recap. Dietary lipids, primarily triglycerides, phospholipids, and cholesterol, are essential for our health. They provide energy, contribute to cell structure and function, and are processed mainly in the small intestine. Intriguingly, the majority of fat digestion occurs in the small intestine, not the mouth or stomach. And that's your introduction to the importance of dietary lipids. Stay tuned for the next scene, where we'll delve into the initial stages of the digestion process. So, how does most of the fat digestion take place in the small intestine? Well, let's break it down, shall we? You see, approximately 97% of dietary lipids come in the form of triglycerides, with the remaining as phospholipids and cholesterol. Only a small portion of these fats are digested in the mouth and stomach thanks to the enzymes lingual lipase and gastric lipase respectively. However, the real heavy lifting happens in the small intestine. This is where bile salts and pancreatic lipase come into play. Bile salts, primarily conjugates of cholic and chenodeoxycholic acids combined with glycine or taurine, are secreted by the liver. These salts play a critical role in the emulsification of fats. In simpler terms, they break down large fat globules into tiny droplets, making them more accessible for digestion. Meanwhile, pancreatic lipase, the most potent lipid-digesting enzyme, comes in to hydrolyze or break down these tiny droplets into fatty acids and glycerol. Now, when fat and protein enter the small intestine, it triggers the release of certain hormones, CCK, secretin, and GIP. These hormones work together to slow down the delivery of lipids, effectively controlling the pace of digestion. In fact, a large fatty meal can stay in the stomach for 4 hours or longer. But that's not all. CCK also stimulates biliary and pancreatic secretions, which further aid in the digestion process. Along with the peristaltic action of the small intestine, which is essentially a series of muscle contractions that move food along the digestive tract, these secretions and bile salts break down fat globules into droplets so small you'd need a microscope to see them. This intricate process ensures that the capacity for digestion and absorption of dietary fat is always in excess of ordinary needs. So next time you're enjoying a buttery croissant or a slice of avocado toast, remember the complex dance happening in your digestive tract, all to make sure you get the nutrients you need. The combination of the small intestine's peristaltic action and bile's surfactant action reduce fat globules into tiny droplets, making them more accessible to digestion. So, the next time you enjoy a meal, remember the amazing work your body does to fuel you for the day. Let's delve deeper into the role of bile in this process. Bile is a fascinating secretion produced by our liver. It's composed of various elements including bile acids, which are primarily conjugates of cholic and chenodeoxycholic acids with glycine or taurine. Bile also contains pigments that give our feces its distinctive color, inorganic salts, some protein, cholesterol, lecithin, and other compounds such as detoxified drugs that are metabolized and secreted by the liver. Now, where is all this bile stored? The answer is the gallbladder, a small organ that serves as the storage house for bile. Every day about 1 liter of bile is secreted from the gallbladder. And what stimulates this release? It's the presence of food in the duodenum and stomach. When we eat, our body sends a signal to the gallbladder, prompting it to release bile into the small intestine. So, what happens next? Once in the small intestine, the bile starts working its magic. It comes into play by emulsifying the fats present in the food. This emulsification process is incredibly important as it breaks down large fat globules into tiny droplets. This action greatly increases the surface area of the fats, making them far more accessible to the enzymes responsible for fat digestion, namely pancreatic lipase. But that's not all. Bile also plays a key role in slowing down the delivery of lipids. When fat and protein enter the small intestine, it stimulates the release of certain hormones that inhibit gastric secretions and motility. This means that a large fatty meal can stay in your stomach for 4 hours or even longer. This allows for a more gradual and effective digestion process. In essence, bile is like the unsung hero of our digestive system. It not only aids in the digestion of fats but also helps regulate the pace of digestion, ensuring that our bodies have ample time to absorb all the nutrients from the food we eat. Bile plays a crucial role in the digestion of fats, preparing them for further breakdown. After the emulsification of fats, what happens next? Well, let's dive into the fascinating process of fat digestion. Once fats have been emulsified or broken down into tiny droplets, they're ready for the next step. This is where pancreatic lipase, a highly effective lipid-digesting enzyme, takes center stage. It gets to work on the emulsified fats, breaking them down into free fatty acids and monoglycerides. Picture this. The pancreatic lipase is like a master chef, expertly slicing and dicing. It typically cleaves the first and third fatty acids from the triglycerides, leaving a single fatty acid attached to the middle glycerol carbon. The result? Free fatty acids and monoglycerides, ready for the next stage of digestion. But the process doesn't stop there. When the concentration of bile salts, those crucial players in fat emulsification, reaches a certain level, something remarkable happens. They form micelles. Now, micelles are small aggregates comprising fatty acids, monoglycerides, cholesterol, bile salts, and other lipids. Imagine them like a well-organized team, with the polar ends of the molecules oriented towards the watery lumen of the intestine. This is a stellar example of nature's inherent wisdom, ensuring that the products of lipid digestion are solubilized rapidly. The micelles, with their unique structure, act as efficient transport vehicles. They carry the solubilized products of lipid digestion, those free fatty acids and monoglycerides, to the intestinal brush border. Here, absorption into the body can take place. This journey, from the emulsification of fats to their digestion and transport, is a testament to the intricate and efficient design of our digestive system. It ensures that the fats we consume, those essential sources of energy and nutrients, are processed and utilized to their fullest potential. The products of lipid digestion are quickly solubilized in the central part of the micelles and transported to the intestinal brush border. And that, my friends, is the fascinating journey of dietary fats in our bodies. Let's encapsulate what we have learned about the digestion process of dietary lipids. This journey begins the moment we consume our food. The majority of dietary lipids, roughly 97%, are found as triglycerides, with the remaining in the form of phospholipids and cholesterol. A small portion of these lipids undergoes digestion in the mouth, thanks to the enzyme lingual lipase, and in the stomach due to the action of gastric lipase. Gastric lipase breaks down some triglycerides, particularly short-chain ones like those found in butter, into fatty acids and glycerol. Yet the lion's share of fat digestion occurs later, in the small intestine. The small intestine is where the magic truly happens. Here, the emulsifying action of bile salts and the hydrolysis by pancreatic lipase take center stage. The entrance of fat and protein into the small intestine sets off a cascade of events, including the release of hormones such as CCK, secretin, and GIP. These hormones slow down gastric secretions and motility, thus moderating the delivery of lipids to the small intestine. This process can extend the digestion of a large, fatty meal to 4 hours or more. Bile, a liver secretion, plays a crucial role in this process. It acts as a surfactant and emulsifier, breaking down fat globules into tiny droplets and making them more accessible to digestion by pancreatic lipase, the most potent lipid-digesting enzyme. Bile is released from its storage organ, the gallbladder, in response to the presence of food in the duodenum and stomach. Finally, the emulsified fats in the small intestine are digested, predominantly by pancreatic lipase, into free fatty acids and monoglycerides. As the concentration of bile salts reaches a particular level, they form micelles, small aggregates of fatty acids, monoglycerides, cholesterol, bile salts, and other lipids. These micelles transport the products of lipid digestion to the intestinal brush border. Through this complex process, our body harnesses the energy and nutrients from dietary lipids, underscoring their importance in our diet.